United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that we take a moment of silence for those that lost their lives on 9/11. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with roll call.
Alexander.
Present.
Spitali. Here. Venez.
Here.
Thank you.
Kalwinski. Torres.
Here.
Tyler. Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels.
Here. There's 7 present, 2 absent. Next up, Mayor's address.
Hi, thanks, Mr. President. Nice to see you all. This is my address for September 11, 2023. I just wanted to appreciate Councilwoman's prayer before in regards to 9/11. 22 years ago, America changed. We learned to appreciate people that were previously taken for granted, talking about police and firemen, veterans, many of whom perished on September 11th climbing the stairwells of the Doom Towers to save people they didn't even know. I wanted to take a moment to thank you to our nation's first responders, in particular to the members of the Hammond Police Department and Hammond Fire Department. And I appreciate the council taking a moment today to remember how the world changed 22 years ago in Washington, D.C. and in New York City. Mayor's activity log. It's been a month, I think, since I reported to you all. During that time, some of the big meetings I had recently met with representatives from Indiana American Water. That's a competitor to our water company, as you all know. Serves a lot of communities in South Lake County, Gary, out in Porter County. Talked to them about cross connections that we could use during emergency situations where if something, God forbid, happened to our filtration plant, something happened to our system where we couldn't get water to our customers, having prearranged meetings with our competitors will help us out. God forbid something like that ever happen. Met recently with the fire chief and the president of Hammond Fire Department, Local 556, talking about contract negotiations coming up next year. I do want to remind the council that this is 2024 is the last year of all of our union contracts with all of our unions, Teamsters, engineers, fire, and police. And if you look at what's going on with labor across the country right now, you know, I think we all got to start getting ready for bigger bills in about a year. We're doing budget, as you all know right now. I know times are tight and we're stretched thin as it is. There's a lot of our employees that think they got a big pay raise coming. So we need to decide as a body how we're going to address that because it's not that far away. I'm going to be sitting with all of the unions talking about the next 4 years. So I did catch COVID last week. I was quarantined for 5 days. I do want to remind everybody that it's still out there. Thankfully, that was the second time I had it. It was a lot more mild. I didn't even really have that many symptoms, but I was positive. Fire chief and I both got it at the same time. So it's in the city and going around. So keep that in mind and conduct yourself accordingly. Met with met with Superintendent Miller and members of the Haas School Board regarding coordination issues in regards to the upcoming referendum. We do have a referendum coming up for the school city Hammond. I know if you have any questions about that, contact the superintendent or any of your school board members about the campaign, but the city normally pays for all the polling places for election day, and we decided to pay for, as we usually do, all the polling places on election day. I know the school city appreciated that. We did cut the ribbon on 4 new sand volleyball courts at the Hammond Sportsplex, something we're very proud of. All of our departments worked together to get that done in-house. We didn't contract at all. Only thing we had to contract for was basically the drivers that brought all the sand in, but once the sand got to the sportsplex, everything else was done by our crews. So something I'm very proud of. Lake County Bar Association recently had a golf outing at the Lost Marsh Golf Course, which was great. Renee Ortega, who's the president of the Bar Association, is a Hammond resident, works for the Hammond Legal Aid Clinic. And as I said, she's the president of the Bar Association. She brought the Bar Association golf out into the marsh. So I appreciate Renee for doing that, and we wanted to show our support for that. So I know you all recently received a letter from the City Controller, Megan, in regards to a proposal for dates for adoption of the 2024 budget. We usually turn in our budget by the end of the month. I anticipate that's the track we're on right now. There's a lot going on right now. We are closing out with State Board of Accounts, prior audits. We're also doing a software conversion and our budget. So please have sympathy on Megan. This is the dates she's hoping you all could work with her on. Public meeting on Tuesday, October 10th, adoption on Monday, October 23rd. Obviously, if the council feels different, that's your prerogative. We do have to have it adopted by the end of the month, though, October 31st. So, and I know that if you want to have separate meetings to discuss the budget, please work with Megan on that. She'll work with you one-on-one or how she normally conducts herself. I see Councilman Kowinski's not here. I know he knows about this. I know the at-larges know about this. Federated Metals site was declared a Superfund by the U.S. EPA. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency will be listing the former Federated Metals properties on the National Priorities List, which is the Superfund site list. Some facts about Superfund. Superfund is the name given to the environmental program established to address abandoned hazardous waste sites. A Superfund is a toxic site and its land or water designated as a potentially hazard to human health and/or the environment. The Superfund program is a government effort to clean up land deemed to be contaminated by hazardous waste and has been identified by the EPA as a candidate for cleanup. We're talking about the area, for those of you that are aware, Federated Metals is the area right around the north basin of George Lake. The neighbors that live around there know about it. It's really in a niche of our city. So part of our city is covered, but Whiting is largely affected by this ruling. As you all know, we designated $5 million of ARP money to help clean up privately owned real estate in this area that was deemed over the EPA limits. We cleaned on 75 properties-ish, cleaned them up to environmental standards. So the areas that we're talking about that's left over is like the basin of George Lake, the water in George Lake, the sediment at the bottom of George Lake, the actual Federated Metals property itself. This is a process that's going to take 7 to 10 years, if not longer. Millions of dollars are going to be spent remediating this entire area, and when this is all said and done, this is going to be a positive. When this is all said and done. It's going to be a long trip to get there, though. Hopefully, when this is all said and done, we'll have the North Basin of George Lake available for use, because it's not right now, and it hasn't been for a long time. And that's really, the North Basin of George Lake is much bigger than the South Basin of George Lake. It's not as big as Wolf Lake, but if we could get some use out of that area there, I think that's a positive for our city. But has been designated a Superfund site. We do have a Hammond Department of Environmental Management working with EPA, working with IDEM, and we're monitoring closely. We're even talking about getting separate representation for the city to work between us and EPA. We're discussing that internally. So, gas station ordinance update. As you all know, about a month ago, we passed a gas station ordinance that shuts down all gas stations citywide at midnight. We do have one gas station that requested an exemption already. We're going through the process in the Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety, working on setting up a hearing date for that station. As you all know, the law goes into effect on November 1st, and we do have an exemption program where if you can make a case for why you think you should be exempt from that law, we're going to give them all consideration. So it's in the 1st district, actually, the one that put in for the exception, and we're going to go through the process on that. If you just stay in touch with the Board of Public Works and Safety for more information on that. Sorry about the presentation today. Norfolk Southern update, Governor's Parkway, no updates on this bridge from previous meetings, but as a reminder, Governor's Parkway is going to be the main route for cars, bikes, and walkers to head from 173rd or Paris Avenue east on 171st to Morton High School or Scott Middle School. The pedestrian overpass, we're in the process of, and this is the area that's down by Scott Middle School, we're in the process of working with Norfolk Southern on the design and the construction of the pedestrian overpass. We've been in contact with the Department of Transportation, Secretary Buttigieg, and people that work for Secretary Buttigieg in regards to how they could help us get this pedestrian overpass built. And we think the combination of Governor's Parkway Bridge with the pedestrian overpass will help prevent any problems in the future. I realize right now that Norfolk Southern is being very responsive about trains blocking. In fact, I think they had one just last week, if I remember correctly, but they've been a lot better recently about railroads crossing, blocking crossings in Hessville. I do want to point out, though, that this is a permanent solution. Right now, that's just a temporary solution. So that's all I have for this meeting. I don't know if you all have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for the mayor?
All right.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I've noticed now we have Councilman Tyler is present on Zoom. We now have 8 present, 7 present in chambers, 1 on Zoom. Next up, approval of minutes.
President,
Councilman Spitali.
motion to accept the minutes from August 28, 2023, be placed on file.
Second.
Been a motion and a second by Councilman Emerson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next up, approval of claims.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, I move for approval of claims, beginning with claims dated September 5th, 2023, and ending with claims dated September 6th, 2023, claim number 5978 through claim number 6372 inclusive, in the amount of $17,084,795.33. I so move.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve claims, second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Alexander,
Yes.
Spitali,
Yes.
Vines,
Yes.
Galwinski, Torres,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes.
Warple,
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes. Approval of claims passes 8-0. Next up, public hearings, we have none. Number 7, communications.
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
based on the Solid Waste Management Board, which meets every other month, September 23rd, that's 2 weeks from today, there will be a shredding and paint, oil-based paints only at the Hammond Public Works from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's 601 Conkey in Hammond. The shredding limit is 4 bags of grocery bags that you can get them at Strack and Van Til's or wherever you shop. 4 bags of shredding material and oil-based paints only. So, thank you.
What was the date on that again? I'm sorry.
September 23rd, it's a Saturday, 2 weeks from Saturday, or 1 week from Saturday.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Councilwoman Vines.
Councilman, what time does that disposal?
From 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other communications? We do have, the mayor did mention it, we'll be having public adoption meetings for the 2024 budget. The public meeting will be Tuesday, October 10th, 2023, and adoption meeting will be Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Also, I want to announce the Hispanic Independence Day Parade on September 16th. Starts at noon. It'll go from Morton High School to 169th, to Kennedy, south to 173rd, and back to Grand. There'll also be a festival at the Moose Lodge, 7500 Klein Avenue Service Road from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m.
That was at noon, you said?
Noon is the parade, yes. Lineup is at 11. Is there any other communications? Any other communications? Communications closed. Committee reports.
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
Capital Improvement Board met on September 5th. The items on the agenda that were passed, we had a $20,120 agreement for professional services to American Construction Point as part of the State Safety Action Plan for Hammond Safe Streets and Roads. It was a grant in the amount of $100,600. That the city's share was $20,120. And it basically is for mostly studies of local congestion around the schools and safety. We also had a funding allocation of $10,000 to, Aban Marche, I think so, an engineering design firm for the construction work during the construction at Clark Field, and that was for $10,000. And finally, there was an allocation of $22,000 to Legacy Sign Group in the amount of $22,000, and it is a sign that is needed on Hammond Avenue for how to get through there during the road construction. Also, Councilman Emerson did come to the meeting and speak. He wanted to find out the status, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the overlays on Mulberry Street,
Correct.
Calumet and Tapper, and Forest Avenue. Do you want to elaborate at all?
Correct. I don't have the numbers in me, but, with me, but 100 Tapper from 173rd to 176th, and I've shortened Mulberry. I originally wanted it from Calumet to Columbia, from Calumet to Tapper. That's my adjustment to that.
And then when you inquired on Forest, was that done already? Or
Yeah, it's done. It's done.
that's all I have on capital improvements, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vaness.
yes, as I always do, I'd like to announce the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings. Community Watch at Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza will be Wednesday, 1 p.m. East Hammond Pullman Crime Watch will meet on October 16th, 6 p.m. at Ophelia Steen Center. Edison Community Watch will meet October 4th, 6:30 p.m. at Edison School. Harrison Park Crime Watch will meet October 3rd, 6 p.m. at the VFW on Holman Avenue. Hessville Crime Watch will meet September 21st, 6 p.m. at the Gene Shepherd Center. Irving Community Watch will meet October 6th, 9:30 a.m. at Irving School. This is a bilingual program. South Holman Avenue Neighborhood Watch has yet to set a date for their October meeting, but stay posted and I'll keep you up to date. The Whiting Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet Thursday, September 14th, 6:30 p.m. at Calumet College. And once again, I urge everyone to come out to the Crime Watch meetings and find out what's going on in your neighborhood, and also find out some very interesting safety information that can provide protection for you and your family, because community is not just about me, it's about us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other committee reports? Any other committee reports? Any other committee reports? Committee reports closed. Ordinance third and final reading, we have none. Introduction of ordinance, we don't have any of those today, or resolutions. Any new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
I make a motion that the meeting scheduled for October 9th, which I believe is Columbus Day,
It is.
be moved to October 10th at normal times.
Second.
A motion, a second, to move October 9th meeting to October 10th due to the holiday of Columbus Day. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is closed. Next up, public expression. First up, Ken Rosick.
Good afternoon, everybody. Couldn't get my printer to work today, so I'm going to read off the computer. We were wondering, our group and everything, whether the Common Council bases their decisions and their votes on hard facts and figures when evaluating the merits of a project, or are most decisions and votes based on political pressure or political favor? Let's take a look at the numbers to the bridge project as revealed in the INDOT public hearing. The new terrain alignment, which is the bridge that the city wants to do, is $11,670,000. $11,670,000. These are 2019 figures. Current estimates are closer to $15 million now. That bridge destroys 12.2 acres of trees, including many over 100 years old. It destroys all of the 4,700-year-old dune woodlands where it's going. It destroys valuable natural habitats for animals and birds. Average emergency response times will increase, not decrease, due to the construction of the bridge and closing of Parish Avenue crossing. So don't let anybody pull that one through, that it's going to decrease emergency vehicles participation going to and from. That's a fallacy. It increases flood risk, noise, and pollution, impacts numerous homes surrounding the project, and it does not service the needs of the entire community, kids and elderly and handicapped. The pedestrian bridge, since our group revealed the bridge does not solve the problem of children getting to and from school, a pedestrian bridge was proposed to make up for the oversight. New information received on WBEZ last week and WTTW talked about the design of a pedestrian bridge. It was reported the cost estimates are in upwards of $5 million. It will be a daunting climb for small children, elderly, and handicapped. Expect lawsuits. Expect lawsuits. The railroad will not commit to the construction, which means we are back to where we began. A bridge that doesn't service the needs of the entire community. Dean Button, the city engineer, said the underpass would cost at least twice as much as the bridge. The mayor said cost was the #1 factor in determining the best route. These are quotes from both of them. The underpass on Grand Avenue is $8,480,000.
Thank you,
Which
Ken.
is, it ends up that the cost of the bridges are $20 million, which is twice
Thank you, Ken.
as much as the underpass.
George Stoya? Pass. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.